We're live.
Hey everybody, this is B from Kongs R Us. Welcome to a very late Sunday fun day show with me and Mrs. Kongs R Us. How are you?
Good. I just finished running a mile.
Oh, you got your bubbly too?
I got my bubbly too. This looks
Fancy.
fun. Okay.
Nice. Cheers to a
Cheers.
Sunday. And hope everybody's having a good time. So I thought it'd be fun to do a little quick stream. Normally we would be going a little bit earlier, but we had a fun, busy day. One of the stops that we made today was one of our favorite places to play
Your
pinball.
favorite.
It is one of my favorite places to play pinball in Los Angeles. Is all you can eat gogi in Van Nuys. It is legit one of the best places in LA to play it. They have 24 pinball machines. There's all you can eat Korean barbecue on top of that. But the cool thing is that they also have very limited edition machines that sometimes you can't play LE's limited edition Stearns in a lot of public places. So Shane is the owner of that place. He does a great job running a very surprisingly clean pinball area, even though it's in a Korean barbecue place. Do you like that joint? You've been a couple times now.
Yeah. It's not known for their meat. It is
Mhm.
a fun menu if you want to
Yes.
eat other stuff other than
Yeah.
I saw this one family had sweet and sour meatballs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, you
Yeah.
do you at a Korean barbecue place.
They have lots of options. But anyways, that's why we're streaming so late, because we were out all day today. But I wanted to talk about this topic because very, very shortly, I finally got the notification that I will be receiving my Foo Fighters premium pinball machine that's been on order for a little while. And I got a notification about it a couple months ago that it was shipping. It's coming this week. And so I'm getting ready to become more of a pinhead in the home arcade space. But it got me thinking about my overall experience of this hobby the last several months. That I think it's hard to describe the this hobby and kind of the niche that it belongs to. Uh, it's uh, it's interesting. And so the title of the stream, if you saw, it says, "Is pinball elitist?" And is this
Oh,
an
you
elite?
changed the title. It was
Yeah,
something completely different. Oh,
no,
look
it
at that.
says, "Is pinball an elitist hobby?" And like I think that's my sentiment about it's. I think I've shared the story before about growing up. I never even cared about pinball at all. It's not something that, even though there was a few machines in the arcade, not something that I gravitated to. And every time that I did play it, it was $1 to play, and it
No, not
was.
even $1. You always tell us $2, family. $2 to play, so you get 3 games.
I'm talking about back then.
Okay.
The cost of a single machine a single game
That's true.
was $1 to play versus a quarter for any machine.
Well, was it really $1 back in the day?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt like maybe 50 cents.
No,
But still,
four
like,
quarters to play a pinball game that as a kid, a teenager that really doesn't know the rules or like have never seen anybody else play it professionally or really well in my local arcade was a 30-second adventure into, straight down the middle pinball. So I never enjoyed it growing up. I think most people can kind of agree with that sentiment.
you definitely feel, oh,
Mhm.
what was that Netflix movie about the
Yeah.
kids who were trying to like play pinball and they would all like take turns playing and then they
Yeah.
found like an older kid who cheated by tilting the pinball just slightly so they have like lots of games.
Yeah.
It was a Netflix game, but the same thing too. The sentiment was like middle schoolers would try to save up and like with the last dollar they had, they just go try to play pinball for as long as they could.
Yeah. And so that's part of the original sentiment, is that I couldn't afford to play it back then, and so only the people that could afford it were the ones that are playing pinball. But it's pinball has gone through very many generations of different types of machines, right? And so there had to be somebody that was playing these machines for it to continue surviving. It wasn't anybody in my particular circle, and it wasn't until I joined the home arcade space and got introduced to pinball through virtual pinball that I discovered that the world of pinball is really deep in its own world. Like, to Team Pandry's point, he says it's a niche of a niche. It really is. To find the people that truly enjoy the game, it was hard pressed to find these folks that enjoy the hobby. And I've been able to kind of share some of their passions and have, finding out where do I fit into the niche? Do I still fit into the classic arcade hobby that I still like? Do I like the real pinball machines, which has gotten super expensive, and I have all my sorts of feelings about it. But that's kind of like the reason why I titled it this way, because I don't know. I don't know why the niche is so small. Why is it that, the hobby is so hard for people to get into in the first place? It's very casual. All of my colleagues and local friends, whenever I talk to them about like, hey, I'm into pinball now, they're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that, but it's not as like deep as the game is now. So like, you've known me for the last couple years getting into this hobby, but I think the last 6 months to a year, I feel like I've gotten a little bit more into wanting to go to breweries and different
So
places.
the thing about it now is
Mhm.
that it sort of hits us at a really good spot because
Mhm.
before COVID, we used to go to brewery hopping all the time. We used
Mhm.
to go mule for our friends and like just hang out at breweries because it was fun. And
Mhm.
then you'd have like the regular games, right? Like the giant Jengas, those little shuffle boards that the kids like.
Mhm.
But going to look for pinballs, it's sort of it. I think part of it also speaks to your not treasure hunter. You do this like
Yeah.
collector's thing where you're always hunting for something. So
Mhm.
if there's an element where Kongler Us has to go look up a map, calculate spots to get here and there, and then still be able to do our normal functions, he's all down for that. So
Yeah.
finding breweries, one that hits off like what I need to do, that we still achieve being a family going out. I think
Mhm.
that's probably where it hit that sweet spot. Now, if that didn't exist,
Mhm.
maybe you wouldn't be as interested. I'm
Yeah,
sensing.
it does hit a lot of feels or a lot of check boxes for what we do currently as a family, right? If we go to a brewery or a place that has beverages, Mrs.
Yeah.
Kongzos is generally happy
Hold
to
on.
is
I also thank you.
oh yes, she is definitely. She just
I
finished
just
the run.
finished a run.
But so that covers that. And most breweries allow us to bring our children there. And so I've been introducing the hobby to them, but it's still expensive because they drain balls like crazy. And so like we're fortunate enough to be able to afford it. But there's some other folks like Troll Patrol is saying, like, yes, at a bare minimum in the UK, an undesirable table from the 70s that's barely functional is like $800, maybe up to $2,000 for a table. So the cost of entry into like owning a pinball machine is also crazy expensive. So let me just go back a few years ago into like how I discovered modern pinball and how I even got into the hobby again. And it was because I was at Captain's Auctions Warehouse buying another pinball machine. I think, no, sorry, not a pinball machine. I bought an arcade. Sorry.
You bought another pinball machine.
No. I bought an arcade. I don't think it was Virtual On. I think it might have been my Star Wars Pod Racer.
Okay.
Yeah. So I bought a Star Wars Pod Racer.
But still sitting in the garage.
Yeah.
Wrapped up in plastic.
I undid the plastic for it, but it was $400 for a Star Wars Pod Racer that was technically not functioning, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna like use this for something else. And when I was doing a tour of the location, I got a glimpse and got to go visit, inside the Captain's Auction showroom. But from there, I saw my very first like modern pinball machine with the 16:9 DMD backglass. And in my head, because I hadn't paid attention to any of the newer Sterns that like started using modern DMDs since 2015 beyond, I was like, oh, they've upgraded pinball machines. And this was like 2 years ago. And so I saw the modern pinball. I went into the Captain showroom, played Star Wars for the first time, and I was like, holy crap, they have like video game in the DMD backglass area where I can play while I'm playing pinball. I activated video mode the first time I played it, and I was like, man, this is so super freaking cool. And then I was like checking out some of the other pinball machines that they had in there, not knowing kind of like the history of like what the greatest pinball machines of all time were. I was just a casual player, just like testing stuff out. And then it got in my brain that I was like, man, I really would love to like own one of these. So at the next auction, they had a Star Wars Pro at that auction. And so I think it's been about 2 years since I've owned it now. May 2021 was when I finally placed my bid for a Star Wars Pro. I saw it on auction. I was like, all right, if I'm going to have one pinball machine in my house, I was going to go for a very strong IP, like a strong IP that I resonated with. And Star Wars is one of the biggest IPs in the world. So I was like, yes, I don't care about the gameplay. I played it once. I thought it's a really fun table. So I was like, that's the one. One pinball machine to own them all. That's it. It almost starts that way, right? So I bid it and won it. And like the price that I paid for it, I think I've already told you how much I paid for it, right? At the time, I won it at $5,200 for the auction. So add in all the buyer's fees, it ended up being about $5,900. And at the time, that was for a used pinball machine. People were giving me crap because a brand new one was about $6,000 new in box, and I paid $5,900 for a used one. But lo and behold, in 2 years, like a Pro now is 7,000 minimum, so they've gone up in value. It's gone up in value.
So let's sell
Just
now.
in the last 2
sell
years,
now.
it's gone up in value.
Who wants a modded pinball for
No.
$7,000?
I've modded the heck out of it. I actually put about $1,000 into it, if not more. But that's the beginning part of owning the pinball machine. And I was like, okay, I have one. I played the game a lot at home. Funny enough, like I was always scared to like lift it and mod it and clean the play field and get comfortable with the innards of it for almost like a year and a half. I really didn't open it up and play it or like touch it, all the inside parts, like, stuff. But then I started getting the hook for like finding out, now that I have the IP, I wanted to learn how to play the game more. And learning the game is all about learning the rule sets and playing other tables that have different, more complicated rules. And then virtual pinball was a way for me to discover a ton of tables that I was familiar with, but never really got the hang of it. So playing the FX3 tournaments and learning the rule set for medieval times or Attack from Mars. And, one of my favorite tables, like classic tables, is Red and Ted's Roadshow. And I played a real one in DC. And I was like, I love that table because I played the virtual version. So I learned the rule sets from. It's a complicated, fun world that I didn't really discover until I got virtual pinball as well. So I credit the virtual pinball plus the real pinball getting me into it. But again, I just like, why is it so hard for other people to understand the hobby? Like, is it weird when I explain like the passion for it? Is it too deep? Is it like, oh, it's not just shooting the buttons that are flashing, it's you have to do this, you have to do that? Like, how do you feel like when you're playing? Do I get too technical when I play, or like when you play?
So that's the difference though. You've been playing at home where it's free, whereas like folks don't have it. Like, okay, invite people over and play for free, and then like you finally explain to them all the intricacies. A lot of times it's like, stay alive, and that's it. We don't think about like, oh, I'm supposed to be hitting this little blinky thingy that's turning red as I'm playing it. Or like as you're trying to shoot it, something happens. It hits something, it just goes straight down the center. Like it's hard for somebody who knows like they just like dropped $1 and said like, that's it. Like, I'm done playing.
Yeah.
Maybe virtual pinball. Like,
yeah. So when you play pinball now, are you starting to learn more of the rules and how to play? Or are you still in that like survival mode, do you feel?
I get some of the screens, it's easy to read and see what I'm supposed to do. Well, obviously, if it's like everything else is white arrows and there's this one green one, you just shoot the green arrow. That's the only one that's little green.
That's the basic thing, right? You shoot the simple thing that's flashing, and like that's the simplest.
The other rule that I do is I don't play any of the games that you have. So I've never played Star Wars. Since you told me Foo Fighters is coming, I don't know if you noticed, I didn't touch a single Foo Fighter game. The kid wanted Godzilla, and I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll play one game of Godzilla. And then just understanding how, for some of the games, they have like the little mini games, right? Or the matching at the very end, the matching. Because I used to stand there going like, I don't get it. What's going on with the matching? I don't care anymore. And then now you're like, oh my God, I know it's trying to match. And you're like, come on, match.
So you can get a free game?
Yes, I can get a free game. But you have to, somebody has to explain that to you, right? Like, I didn't figure out the matching until I saw it matched. And then I heard like the free game. And I went, like, well, actually, no, sound? Understanding what that knocker sound was, because it scares the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah, whenever
the first time you're like, fuck, I broke something. Oh, it's a free game.
Yeah.
So now
that happens in the middle of the game too. If you score certain.
But then you have somebody has to explain that to you. It's a free game.
Yeah,
and then also to look at the little credit, because then sometimes you're not paying attention. You just go, oh, I played, I'm done. But if you don't notice it because you saw another game had like a credit on it, you're like, oh, look, somebody probably didn't notice it had a free game or something. So knowing those little things, there's no legend or chart that says like how to play the game anywhere.
Little did you know, in the bottom left corner of every pinball machine, there's an instruction card that actually tells you what to do to actually play it. So much
words.
Yeah, it's
coins in play.
Yeah, everybody plays pinball or plays the game saying it's difficult to master in general, right? Ball's heading down the center, you have to trouble without shaking, without getting tilt. Like it's called manipulating the pinball when you're like tilting and nudging. That's another core component of it. But that mastery of the rule set,
slapping the things,
slap saves.
You saw your daughter on the virtual pinball slap the tables. You're like, you didn't explain to her she doesn't need to do that on a virtual pinball.
Oh no,
she's slapping it really hard.
There's accelerometers on the virtual pinball, but slap saves and things. There's all sorts of tricks you can do. It's getting fun. I still think I'm like a terrible pinball player, but I'm casually having more fun with it. And so now I come back to just my experience owning one pinball machine, going to these breweries in different places. I want to talk about some of my experiences traveling around the country now and looking at something called pinballmap.com. And so when I travel, I often look up places to go pinball if I have time to go hit up something. It just makes it a little bit more fun.
Mentality.
Yeah. So I did that recently on a trip to DC. I probably will do a separate video that talks a little bit about it, but I met some awesome, cool people in the community. And let's talk about the pinball community itself. You went to one tournament with me, right?
No,
two. You've been to two tournaments with me.
Ace, and then the one at
we went to a James Bond launch party.
Yeah.
And then you went to a Foo Fighter launch party with me. So you've seen the people at the pinball tournaments there. And I've been to several other events with pinball communities. All right. So now I'm going to talk about the people, because when I say pinball is elitist, you have to also think about the community that is going to these tables, to these events and owning these pinball machines. Can you tell me your impression of the people that go to these events?
More affluent Comic-Con folks.
Okay, what does that mean?
Come on, you know what that means.
What does that mean? Tell me. Come on. Tell me what does that mean?
Majority male.
Okay.
Majority older.
Okay.
Majority on the fair side.
Did you see any other Asian people at the events?
You.
Besides me, did you see many people?
Our son and our daughter.
Did you see any persons of color at these events? And not to say like you have to like be like not to be diverse in the space to be elitist or not, but I'm just saying like golfers, like it's like I don't know if anybody ever talks about this, right? But like it's a very white hobby. I don't know how else to say it in terms of like it being not diverse in the space, but I've gone to tournaments in places and I feel out of place. And I don't know if that's just like not welcoming to like participate and like, hey, am I really there to play? But it's just this sentiment, this weird feeling that I've gotten. But it's not like overt that people aren't welcoming to this space. Not at all. So it's not.
The Foo Fighter gentleman was so sweet to me. I gave him like so much dollars. I was like, I'm so sorry. Here's like a couple. I need a lot of change. He's like understanding. He doesn't like look at me going, lady, really? It's like, I just went to the ATM. All I have is a 20 and I just need $5 in change.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean everybody's amazingly nice, like everybody that I've talked to, but I think it's just the hobby as a whole, right? Like if you watch videos of Texas Pinball Festival or any of the other pinball festivals out there, and I can say that for a lot of the home arcade stuff, it's like it's hard pressed to see, you know, just more people of different backgrounds and cultures enjoying these machines. And it gets me thinking, like, why is that? Like, is there a barrier to entry for you know, people to play these games, to enjoy it? It's really weird. You have to multiply more so you can present. Like, let me show you an example of this, what I'm talking about. Okay, let me share Pinball Map with you guys. If you guys haven't gone to this before, this is something called pinballmap.com that has a web browser version, and there's a mobile version of this. Here's a pinball map of Los Angeles County and where pinballs exist. You know, there's a ton in Orange County, lots of different spots. But when you get into LA proper, you notice something about this map?
It's not really LA proper.
It is.
You need to go up a little bit more.
This is LA. This is LA, right? So like this is This is downtown Los Angeles, right? And where are the actual pinball machines?
Yeah, so LA proper, I see it as if you go up a little bit more, like Beverly Hills, like even in affluent areas like Beverly Hills, it's not a hobby there, but like it's very telling when you go down to like Orange County. Yeah,
there's Orange County, but like this whole pocket of like the middle of LA, South Central, Culver City, Inglewood, Hawthorne, Compton.
Bowling alleys at these places.
There's not a single pinball machine in the inner city of Los Angeles area ever, right? And I grew up in Long Beach, and there's a good scene in Long Beach, you know, and so it just happens to be like in this bordering area. So it's like, I guess it makes sense maybe for pinballs to be in places where you can afford $1 a game play, but it's like, why is it not in certain places, especially in LA? So I don't know. I was like, I guess I'll never be playing pinball in any of these places out here. But in the cool thing about Pinball Map here is it actually gives you numbers of the pinball, how many pinball machines are at these locations. So 18, there's 18 pinball machines at Revenge of. I've always wanted to go here. One of the best places in downtown to play is actually at a barcade called 82, which I talked about before. They have 22 machines. Earlier today,
82 was also cheap.
Yes, yeah, it was about 50 cents a play. And then today, that's the other thing about All You Can Eat Gogi. They have 24 machines, and they're about 50 to 75 cents to play, and they're limited edition machines. And they have freaking an amazing lineup here. So you can see all the machines that they have here. They have a Batman LE, a Deadpool LE, a Foo Fighters LE,
come for the pinball,
a Galactic Tank Force, a Godfather LE, a Godzilla LE, a Premium Galaxy, the Guardians, they have the 60th anniversary James Bond. So the thumbnail that you saw Mrs. Congress playing, I guess when it first came out, it was like a $20,000 pinball machine. I was like, this is a $20,000 pinball machine, right? There's only 500 of these made, but they have a lot of LEs there, which is really cool. Scooby Doo CE. So all you can eat gogi if you're ever in the LA area, in Van Nuys.
It's not LA, it's Van Nuys.
It's Van Nuys, LA area. I said LA area. Van Nuys is one of the best places to play. They also have a secondary location in West Hills, which is a little further out. We haven't been to that location, but check out the Van Nuys location. And of course, if you're ever in the Southern California, Orange County area, the place to go to in SoCal is all the way out here between Yorba Linda and Orange County, Anaheim. It is Captain's Auction Showroom. They have 68 pinball machines in their showroom. It's an amazing place to go out and check out. But anyways, anytime I travel and I go somewhere, I have to go to a meeting in Orange County or something else. I'm like, oh, the other day we went to Mission Control because we were on the way back from our wedding. And I was like, hey, let's pass by Santa Ana. I've always wanted to go check this place out. So yeah, pinball map is awesome. But I just wanted to show this map of like, where pinballs really are in places that are more affluent. It's this apparent, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's like that's where operators can put their machines at, where they can collect money. It's at breweries and places. So finding pinball machines also is like one of those harder things to do if you want to just go and casually play. So this is pinball map. I just thought this was like, there's not a single pinball in the middle of LA anywhere. So I don't know. That's just like a really weird thing to see. And it's just, at some point I wanted to talk about it and see if there was any validity to it. Maybe there isn't. I'm not saying anything bad about the hobbyists. It's just weird that the niche of a niche is just not quite as diverse as there's not a lot of content creators, right, that are making content about pinball that are out there. So yeah, Pinside on map. Let's see, what does it say?
Pinside. Bobby's Arcade World has been using Pinside and pin maps for years. I usually buy from there too. Captain's Auction, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
None. Rich cities.
None in Compton, exactly, right? There's nothing. Yeah. It's not an old white man hobby, I would say. It's just like, it's not as quite as... I mean, I guess you could say that about a lot of these older...
This is
like
terrifying.
hobby machines.
I would not want to take our children there.
What's that?
The
to where?
pachinko parlor.
Pachinko? In Japan? What are you talking about?
No, just like the little, they like the little noise things and things of stuff. They discovered in our Asia market, they opened up this little like corner with like claw machines and like silly stuff. Children love it. It's a drain suck. These kids.
So let me just kind of like my final points, and then I'll start sharing just a little bit more about my experience of playing pinball recently.
Things are gonna be different when we go to the
Pinball Hall of Fame. Yeah, they have a new building there. Okay, so just my overall experience again joining the hobby was, me purchasing my machine, me going out to all these different places, participating in several tournaments. Everybody has been freaking awesome that I've met and really enjoyed talking about it. But I think it's a surprise and a double take when they're playing as well. So it's just one of those things I have to kind of get over that initial kind of sense of like, I'm here to play pinball and like don't look like a crazy random person, right? I'm actually enjoying the hobby and I can have a good conversation with somebody about pinball nowadays. And now as I've owned one pinball machine and I'm about to get my second, and I have another one on order, so we'll have 3 in the house pretty soon. Buying a new in-box pinball machine, I just want to talk about that experience for a second here.
We haven't gotten it yet.
We haven't.
You can't not talk about experience.
I can talk about my pre-order experience for everything so far, right?
But then you bought it through a reseller.
No, I bought it. So here's the thing about pinball. If you want to buy a new pinball machine, this is like the other crazy thing, right? You can buy a used one through auction. You can go to Pinside, which is this online forum community, to buy it from somebody else that has a pinball machine, right? There's things, or you can buy a new in-box pinball machine, NIB, and there's authorized dealers that have these pinball machines that you have to work through. You can't buy them direct from the manufacturer. You can't go straight to Stern or to American Pinball or Spooky and buy it from them. No, you have to go through these third-party vendors. And there's a lot of them out there locally in Southern California. I think Orange County Pinballs is the main guy. But a while ago, I got connected with somebody named Tom. Tom Graff is one of the world's ranked pinball players, and he did my Star Wars mod. And so I got to talk to him about pinball. He owns like 40 machines in his house. And he's the one who recommended Flipping Out Pinball as a place to get pinball machines, like new in-box pinball machines. So I started following them for a while. And when I looked at pinball dealers, there's an MSRP, which is the factory price that's like set by Stern, and then dealers have the option to kind of make their prices at whatever margin they want to make a little extra margin, because they're all businesses, right? They're trying to make a little extra buck. So even though SoCal Pinball is my local dealer, they always have like this little premium markup. And like for me being kind of cheap Asian person, I'm always shopping for deals first. So I'm like, all right, let me check out other places. And Flipping Out had, the pinballs at MSRP. So I talk about that because there's multiple places you can buy. You have to do all this research about where you want to buy your pinball from. All right, so you figure out where you're going to buy your pinball from. Most of them, especially the new pinball machines, aren't in stock, and you have to place pre-orders. You have to put money down in order to reserve a spot in line for a production schedule that is not yet predetermined. So for Godzilla is one of the most popular pinball machines of all time. It's rated number one. It's going back and forth right now. I don't know where it's at. But I placed an order for Godzilla Premium last year in August because I was like finally determined that I wanted to get a Godzilla Premium. I was like, this is going to be my next new in-box pin. And it said at the time on the Flipping Out website, it would be for a 2023 release at some point in time, or like I think it's a late 2022, early 2023 release is what it said on the pre-order. But that's just a guesstimate. That's just like an estimate. And I paid in full at the time. So I mean, usually a deposit is like $250, but I paid $9,000 last year in August for a pre-order that I had no idea when it was gonna come. Dropped $9,000 already for a pinball machine. I was like, okay. I'm explaining. She's like, what the hell, right? Who else would spend $9,000 on something and you not even know when you're going to get it? I still don't know when I'm going to get it. I don't know what the official production schedule is. As soon as I placed the order for it, that was it. I've not heard a peep from the dealer about the production schedule for that machine. And you have to either like search some random forum on Pinside to see the production schedule and like hope that it comes out. Apparently the next production schedule for Godzilla is in July of this year for Godzilla Premiums. But they don't even know. They don't know what allocation they're getting. So it's just like this wild, wild west to buy and reserve a new unbox pin. Like that's crazy, right? It's like you got scammed, but this is a legitimate dealer. Like everybody vouches for him. Okay, so I can understand that.
You paid $9,000. You gave this fool $9,000. Yeah. Whenever you get to it, you can get to it.
No, but it's not his fault. It's part of the way you have to buy a new in-box pinball machine. It's like it's dumb.
Here is $9,000. You get to it when you get to it.
This is the elitist part of the hobby I've been talking about, right? So I spent $9,000 for a pre-order, right? Ahead of time. And normally like they don't charge you all in front, but some places do. In this case, I paid that much. And it's gonna be a little bit more than that.
Do you know what I put $9,000 in?
What's that?
A savings fund for our children.
This will be a savings fund because I can sell it later for like much more when it appreciates. Okay, here's the next part of the story. So Foo Fighters comes out and I get really excited for Foo Fighters Premium. I hear a lot of good things about it. I finally play it. I was like, man, I think I only want to get one pinball machine, but like I kind of like both. And then I have money saved and I was like, all right. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put in $250 deposit for Foo Fighters Premium as well from Flipping Out because I already did one order with him. He was still cheaper than my local dealer. And then when I messaged him at the time when Foo Fighter Premium was like, hey, you can get Foo Fighters before your Godzilla because I will be getting the first shipments of Foo Fighters Premiums and you could have it. I was like, great. Like I've been waiting so long for Godzilla. I finally just want a new pinball machine to play in my house. So then I placed the order in February for it and I get a text message finally for Foo Fighters Premium as they've been getting delivered. Still shaking your head?
This man. Hey, are you going to be working from home on Tuesday?
Yeah.
I just need you to be at home. Why?
Yeah. I mean, so.
Return to sender!
No, so, okay. So then now that I paid the amount for Foo Fighters, which is a premium version is about $9,600. So it's another $10,000. So I'm almost like $19,000, $20,000 I've paid to this company, right? And I've not received like any merchandise yet. But that's how you have to do.
Oh my God.
You just have to wait. So
you know where else I paid $20,000 and I haven't received a merchandise yet?
What's that?
Our child's $529. Their college fund.
Yeah. yeah, I can sell these and we can, put them in college later. It's a savings account. It's like a physical savings account, right? You buy a pinball machine, you sell it for the same price or more later on.
He has
It's better assets than putting it into a
I can at
bank.
least log into a website.
Yeah, this is
and
crazy
see...
first world problems, right? This is crazy first world problems. But here's my point. Here's my point of this like stupid elitist hobby. May 1st.
I don't know. At this point, I really don't know.
May 1st, I get a text message from Flipping Out Pinball. Zach, is an awesome guy. He's actually, he's a content creator too, straight down the middle. It's great stuff. He sends me a text message and it says, like, hey, good news. Your Foo Fighter premium order is going to ship later this week or next. And then he sends me the rest of the invoice to pay for it. So this is May 1st. And then I was like, great. And then so that same day, I finally do like the rest of the payment for everything. And then what's wrong with your face? I'm confessing live, but I'm sharing my story here. All right. So 3 weeks goes by, right? Not heard a peep from Zach. And so then I message him 3 weeks later on like May 22nd or something, right? Because it's like 3 weeks. And I'm like, hey, it's been 3 weeks. You said it would ship within the week or next week. Am I getting and did I miss a notice? And he just casually said, oh, it's been delayed by Stern. Like, you said that it's factory delays. And I've said, oh, okay, no problem. Like, I haven't really heard anything. So I appreciate any future heads up. And then another 3 weeks goes by. And then I messaged him again. I think this was like 2 Mondays ago. Cause like, again, this is probably just me too. I'm just complaining because like I spent so much money and then I hadn't gotten any notices. But I was getting frustrated because I had put $20,000 close to like with this company, and the communication, I guess I should just expect that it happens when it happens. But there were Stern factory delays. He said that he was apologetic for not communicating any of the delays or things. I just know like going through third-party vendors to like get something when you put that much money into a product, I think I'm freaking crazy. I have no idea like why I'm putting myself through this. It finally is coming though. It's coming on Tuesday, and I just need to be a little bit more patient. But I think I was more frustrated with the fact that the vendor that is taking full payment isn't as communicative about delays, especially when they had promised kind of shipment within a week or two originally. And I'm fine with delays, and if there's factory issues, it was the lack of communication that I was disappointed with. And this is my first kind of new in box experience, right? I bought a used one from Captain's. I went to go pick it up, but this is like the first time I'm supposed to be happy about buying a new in box pin. I'm supposed to be happy, right, Mrs. Kong's about buying a new in box pinball machine. I
agree with Calvin,
right? She has this face with her. But I think it'll be okay. But all of this experience is like I'm like getting antsy now about like crap. Where am I gonna put it? I have to clean up the house. I have to move stuff around and things like that. And I'm like, oh, and then there's going to be another pinball machine that's coming too. So first off, I just want to say, I'm sorry. Look at her face this whole time. She's just listening like, holy crap.
Holding back tears.
Yeah.
Y'all like tears. Oh
yeah. Not money gone, nothing. It's coming. It's coming, Vessel. They're coming. This is dumb. This is why people don't get into the pinball hobby, because it's addicting. You get nothing. You have to work through these dealers. You have to wait, and you get nothing. You paid $20,000, and for 8 months, you have nothing to show for it. And that was me the last couple of weeks, where I was like, I spent so much money, and I have nothing to show for it. But that's all going to change. It's all going to change come Tuesday. Tuesday, I will be the new proud owner of a Foo Fighters premium machine that I'm going to play the heck out of, 9,000 times to be able to make my money's worth.
I love it.
Right?
If only you knew, I buy $12 box wine from Trader Joe's. 3 bottles for $12.99.
So I just need to buy you a ton more of... Yes, Dave Grohl did a guest appearance at Guns N' Roses and played Paradise City at Glen. Well worth the watch. That's good to know. Video Game Vegas says, thank you very much for the story. You talked me out of buying a pinball. This is the whole point of the story, right? I wanted to share my experience so far. because it's not been like great so far, this new in-box purchasing experience. Like, the fact that you have to wait so long, that you don't know when things are going to happen.
Oh, I
I'm
know.
sure there's better ways to
Where's Godzilla?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's that one's in production schedule. I saw a rumor that it's going to be in production in July.
Here's
But that'll be the last one.
$9,000.
That'll be the
Y'all
last
get
one.
to it when you get to
That'll
it.
be the last one, right? Yeah, it's a discouraging hobby to be in. I don't know if this is just like typical for a pinball owner's experience, but for somebody that, didn't grow up with great means, and we're still very meager family, but I've done a lot of good saving. I've been doing a ton of commissions, which I need to kind of finish up, right? Yes, but the hobby has been paying for the hobby. So let me just say that much. I've been putting some good savings into it.
I love how he says the hobby has been paying for the hobby.
It has.
You've been paying for your arcade machine. I've been figuring out this whole electricity and like housing cost.
Yeah, I know. Dmod says, I just picked the wrong dealer. You've literally got machines, including Godzilla, with a small deposit in less than 2 months. Flipping out is too big. You know what? I mean, I didn't want to make this like a flipping out bashing stream, but I was like, I needed to just share my experience because they're a very popular dealer, and they do a lot of good work, and I probably should just with my local guy. If I was willing to pay like $500 more with my local dealer, I would have had it already. But he just had it for a $500 premium markup, and maybe that's the price you pay, right? It's all about, it's like who you know. It's like who you know. It's like, right? And then in any hobby or something where it's like, it's not about what you do. Okay, I'll go buy you some tacos.
Oh shit tacos.
Oh shit tacos are when I get in trouble, and instead of buying her flowers, I buy her tacos.
Like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. You get flowers. No, I get oh shit tacos.
Yeah. Andy is like, I bought my Foo Fighters and arrived within 8 days from Chicago about a month ago. Counting your blessings, man. It's still in Tokyo, right?
Probably taking over Tokyo.
All right. Well, let's move into the next kind of final part of it. I wanted to talk about some of the newer pinball machines that I've been playing that are kind of new. So we didn't get to play this pinball machine, but I was in Chicago. I was in DC, and I got to play a Scooby Doo pinball machine. This is a brand new pinball machine that came out this year. And it was kind of cool. It has a lot of cool features. This was a brewery called Ocelot in Dulles, Virginia. And I got to play Scooby Doo, but the first time I played it, if you can see in the top right corner, my ball got stuck. And I talked to somebody that was local, and this was one of the common things that happened on this table, that balls would get stuck everywhere, and the play isn't that smooth, and in fact, when they do tournaments, they actually don't run Scooby Doo in their tournament because of these issues. And I was like, for a brand new a new pinball table that's been here for a couple of months or so, that was kind of jarring. That was my first experience playing it. And then I moved over to Galactic Tank Force, which is also a new pinball machine from American Pinball that I was like really hyped to play, because I was watching people play it at Texas Pinball Festival. And the first thing you notice, especially when I finally like destroyed the tank and the guy popped out, look at the quality of the toys in the tank in here. Like, this is just kind of some quick video of the tank, and I know it's a little bit choppy for you guys to see, but coming in here, look at that. Look at the quality of this toy that's inside the machine. This is all 3D printed in a $10,000 pinball machine, unfinished looking like toys inside of the machine. I thought that was really disappointing to kind of see the unfinished nature of the toy, of the thing that popped up there. I was like, that's really terrible. Like, the tank itself is printed in red, and like the one that I saw today too had a bunch of like the flying saucers that are still all gray painted. I don't know if these are like still pre-production versions, because I think somebody was saying this is like one of the few that's here. There's one in All You Can Eat Gogi that I played today as well. But just to have it out there in the wild and not even like painted or sanded down, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was really surprised at the level of quality that they had. So these are some of the other pinball machines that they had there. So yeah, I just wanted to show off. That was the weird thing about, so those are my first impressions about Scooby Doo and Galactic Tank Force. Scooby Doo was playing it, having fun. But yeah, it was a defective Scooby. There was some interesting like issues with it running around. And then the Scooby Doo that was at the All You Can Eat Gogi was turned off. Out of all 24 pinball machines, that was the only one that was turned off, so I couldn't play it. So I was like, oh, I wonder if there's like something continually wrong with the Scooby Doo pinball machine, which is from Spooky. So I mean, it just has issues, which kind of sucks for a new pinball machine. And then here's the thing: this is the hobby. It's like a $10,000 machine, and they're straight out broken within 2 months. Like, what other hobby would you like pay $10,000 to own a product or like play something and it be broken within like months or not like work function? I know there's like table differences with things, but like this is like crazy that in 2 months already it's not functioning properly. I was like, dumb. I don't get it. Okay, so yeah, here's some other footage of Scooby Doo, some other footage of Galactic Tank Force. I'll do a different video of everything too. Oh, this was me eating my ramen at Ramen Jinya. Yummy, yummy. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I met a really cool guy named Grant at Ocelot Brewery. Actually, I think he's in one of these videos here. Let's see if I can pull it up here. So I met this guy named Grant. Grant was awesome. He introduced me to the pinball community in Dulles, Washington area. Is super fun, super nice to meet. He was giving me his feedback about Spooky too, or the pinball machine. So I'll do a separate video where you can hear his comments and everything. But like he was saying, hey, if you don't have anything else to do, why don't you join us at another brewery place called Carpool? And we have a league that night and you can just join as a guest. And I was like, heck yeah, that's awesome. I'm on work travel. I got nothing else to do. And so I took an Uber out there and then I went to Carpool. And then this is the other place, which is Carpool. And then I met another dude. This guy, his name is Dan. And Dan is the creator of something called iScored. iScored is like a separate website that you can like launch and like publicize your scores to. And then there's other vendors that can use it to be able to log their scores. And then he uses it for the tournament and for the league that he does. So talking with Dan was really cool. So I met Dan. He was freaking awesome. Bought me a drink. I bought him a drink. We talked for a little while. Dan was freaking cool. But this is Carpool Brewery. I was put in a guest group with about 4 people. That's one of the guys I played against. We played 4 different tables. They had a Mando, a Foo Fighters. I think we also played a really classic table, and Tron was the other table that we played. And they had the Mando topper there too. So that was really cool to see the Mando topper in person, a $2,000 topper. That's the other thing about pinball. I can't believe the prices for everything too. Talk about freaking, it makes me sick that I'm in this hobby that like thinking about buying a $1,000 topper, a $2,000 topper for something. It's stupid. I hate it. All right. But anyways, Harlem Go Choppers was the other table. And I think Star Trek was a table that we played too. So yeah, this is just some fun pinball machines that were at Carpool Brewery. These guys are super awesome. This is how they're running scores on the sheets. This is a really fun community. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time. That's Kevin right there. He was one of the top pinball players. He runs this group called Pinholics. And he hosts these tournaments and leagues at Carpool and other places in Dulles. And it was a really fun community. They welcomed me a lot. I came in there. That was the big ballers scores for Carpool, FSPA. There was Dan, and that's Kevin. I did a little interview. So I'll do another full interview to like talk about my experience playing there. Oh, and that's my virtual on. But anyways, that's just my really quick experience, going to DC and experiencing Galactic Tank Force for the first time, experiencing Scooby Doo, meeting a really cool, awesome pinball community out in Dulles. And I think it's really cool that wherever you travel around the country, you can use Pinball Map and find these breweries in play. So I think the community is stronger now because it has more pinball. I just want more people to play, and I wanted to find more people to be able to enjoy it. DMod says spooky machines are always breaking down. Glad that you told you really like the Scooby machine. You haven't played it, but not now. I mean, you can definitely play it. I just wouldn't ever think about buying it, right? I think it's just it's really tough to buy a machine that you know is going to break down all the time. What's up, Toxin? This is like the yacht club of the arcade universe. Pricing is the only thing that bothers you. Yeah, for sure. V-Pin. Kevin and Carpool are fantastic. Yeah, PJ, if you're in that area. Is the pinball community nicer than the home arcade community? I'd say, yeah, they're very welcoming because, pinballs are mostly in breweries and people are having drinks and people are having a good time. And so it was a Monday night and people were at the brewery from like 7 p.m. to like 11 at night on a Monday night, drinking alcohol and playing pinball. every week or every 2 weeks because that's their pinball league. Like, I want to go find a local pinball league, and they have them here in the Los Angeles area because that's all you do. You drink alcohol and you play pinball. Like, it's fun. It's a great community. I want more people to enjoy it. So that's one of the fun things. Like, wouldn't you want to do that every like Monday or Tuesday night? Go to a place, drink beer, and play pinball? Like,
oh, good golly, Monday and Tuesday?
no, I'm just saying, like, that's what leagues do. Like, leagues, they meet every other, like, they're nice because people are just drinking and having fun, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You think about an older pinball machine, about spend $1 to $2,500 locally. They might want to sell it. Yeah. So if you get used pinball machines, they definitely can be a lot cheaper. Newer pin prices have been dumb, stupid, crazy the last 2 years. The pinflation is like freaking real. That's really freaking down. So Bobby's Arcade, yeah, look up a pinball league, right? Like, I think they have them in a lot of places. You can look them up. You can get actually ranked around the world. That's really fun. Okay, last thing I want to share, Mrs. Congress, what did you think about some of the other pinball machines that we played today? Bond 60th. That's the other one that I want to pull up and show off.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It was flat, no ramps, but there's a lot of weird targets for you to hit, and that goddamn like hat.
Mm-hmm.
That hat got in the way of everything. Why does my hair look like it's crazy?
All right, this is the last thing we'll talk about, and then we'll end the stream for today. Okay, so Bond 60th. This is one of the newer pinball machines that came out, and it's super rare to play this game.
Why does my hair look so freaky?
Right now?
Yeah, look at that. No, not right now, like the video.
Oh, because it's not you. Is it you playing?
That's me playing.
That's your hair?
Watch.
Oh, okay, all right. So let me play this. So Bond 60th is a very rare table because they've only made 500 of these. Super, super rare. And it's a single play field, right? No multiple ramps. You're so good at this game, right? Like, look, you just falling down.
Yep, like a drunk person.
Yeah. Go to the next one. Next.
And then you click this, and then you gotta stop share. Then you gotta pull up the browser.
Next.
No. A Finder window. Pull up the Finder window. Up.
All right, you distract everybody then.
I have no idea what's up with my hair. That was a weird angle, to tell you the truth. I don't know if it was up or down, but yeah, Bond was very interesting. That's not it.
Okay, I'll just do it from this. The media player is what I want to play.
Scooby Doo was broken.
Yeah. Okay. So here was the front. When you walk in, this is the waiting room. In the waiting room of the all-you-can-eat. Yeah. In the waiting room of the all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue place, they have a Toy Story Limited, a Scooby Doo, which is down, and a World Cup Soccer. And on the flip side, they had like a Guardians of the Galaxy, 4 more pinball machines in the waiting room. Yeah. Deadpool, limited edition, Guardians, and 2 more tables. I forget what they were. So that was the waiting room. Poor Scooby is down. Yeah, so here's the 60th Bond. There's an LE Foo Fighters. First time seeing an LE Foo Fighters because they have the expression lights there, but everything else looks the same as the premium that I played. So there's an LE Foo Fighters. Fun. I dig the expression lights. I think they're cool. I don't think it's worth the extra $2,000-$3,000 for it though. Yeah, it's super expensive. All right, so here it is. Bond 60th. There's Mrs. Congress playing. What'd you think? So you thought it was simple play field? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Simple play field, but you have to hit all the little targets. So it was like, okay, well, I can play it with this slipper, and you're like, no, you cannot. So it was interesting.
So the DMD on the back is actually just a score reel. So the middle of the table screen is actually the replacement for kind of the modern LCD that you see. So it's kind of a throwback, one single level play field. But the game, so yeah, it's just a score reel in the back, so it's kind of weird to just be looking down there to play the whole time. There's the hat that she was talking about that kind of just flips around in the middle, hitting the targets. And the thing with some tables, it's a very low scoring game mechanism. So you're literally scoring 10s and 12 points. This is a cool feature that in the beginning, you can select your sound style where it has chimes or bells or modern sounds too. So me and Mrs. Kong's and Russ were playing and kind of, getting stuck together. Oh my gosh, what was that? So we were playing, checking the sounds. I'm surprised at how expensive this table was, even though it was limited at 500. If you look at how plain the table is, look at this. So for the table, when this first came out, 500 of these, I think the asking price was like $20,000. $20,000 for this table, and it doesn't even have like art blades on the side. It's all plain
No
there.
ramps.
I mean, the ramp, like people were arguing about it being a single play field too, and not being like extra.
I mean, like it had a lot of things for you to hit. So,
Yeah,
like,
so
you had like the MI6, the little like.
and so I think only a true Pinhead fan would be like, oh, this is a really deep, complicated table. There's like more things to like
You're supposed
to
to
do
hit, yeah.
before you would see ramps and all these other things. But like, is the value then in just its limited quantity versus the quality of the game? And I just don't understand why Stern would make like this such a limited edition table at 500, and when they just had the other Bond version of it too. So it's like a different game. Like
you
this
had to pay Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan money.
Yeah, because this has all the Bonds in it. So I didn't understand this. I don't understand the release of this table, honestly, because they had James Bond Pro Premium Limited, and then they have this version, which is like a completely different game. Like they should have just made this a separate title and not have it be so limited. Like I don't get it. Like, so the things that, you know, some of the companies do and the price point for this was just dumb. Like this, like I straight out don't understand why it's so expensive. So that's you playing 007. This is Polymorph. Oh, this is fun. I don't think we really talked about this.
It was hard. Very distracting.
This is Weird Al's Museum of Natural Hilarity. It's a multimorphic P3 table where there is an LCD screen in the bottom of the playfield. Oh, this is Galactic Tank Force. That's just me looking at Galactic Tank Force. Let's go back to the, okay. So yeah, there's the LCD screen in the middle of the playfield, and those are kind of changeable parts. So you can actually have one machine and change out the parts. And so that's the flippers that kind of go off to the sides. It's a very interesting experience, and there's not a lot of these also for the public to play. So there's one in Long Beach, and then there is one here that I've seen, but you don't often see them out. So I was really happy to play it and check it out. But yeah, I had a good time playing this the last time I played it. But yeah, P3, is this something that you enjoyed compared to the other pinball machines? Is it kind of weird?
It's harder for some strange reason.
Yeah,
I think it's just like the screen, the LCD screen, and then like
it's too distracting.
Yeah, it's too distracting, and I felt like the flippers had a bigger center hole, so you couldn't do like
like there's a bigger gap in the middle.
Yeah,
maybe.
And then like I was trying to shoot the little it popped up like
oh yeah, so that thing, so you hit it.
See, like that's where you would like do the ball lock.
Yeah. So I mean, it's cool. Like I think it's different. Like you know, all the toys are in the top half of the screen, but it gives you a lot of options for playing.
Down the center. Did you see that?
Yeah. Look at you pouting. Gives you a lot of options. So yeah, here's just the other pinball machines that are in the front, and these are the Black Belt, Kiss, Guardians, and yeah. So those are all the pinball machines that were there at Van Nuys. But okay, we've talked a lot of pinball today. I mean, it's just the experience of what it is. Do I still think it's like I was saying in the title, is it elitist? I think so. I don't know if that makes me part of that hobby now because I've spent so much money and I don't have anything to show for it.
You don't.
I don't. I think we'll still continue visiting breweries and places that have it. So if you have Pinball Map and you want to check out a place, I really enjoy traveling now. Even when we were in Hawaii, I used Pinball Map and found a place that had pinball machines. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So it's just a nice thing to do. So hopefully this video was just fun to kind of give some thoughts about the hobby itself, where we started with it, where I hope to be and continually enjoying the ones that are in my house. Am I going to get rid of all these arcade one-ups and go into pinball? I don't think so. I still really enjoy my arcades and the look of them. So I think that's still going to be a big part of what I do. But I think 3 is going to be it. I think Star Wars, I think Godzilla Premium, Foo Fighters, and I'll be done. No more pinball machines. I'll have some of the top pinball machines of all time. That's it, right? You don't need any more. You just need like 1, 2, 3, maybe.
Where are you going to put it?
That's it. We'll figure it out. Pinball Wizard, yeah. I don't think you'll ever be elitist. Oh, thanks, Video Game Vegas. You're too nice. Yeah, and I don't mean that in a bad connotation at all. So if folks are watching and may consider that, I didn't mean to say it that way. I just wanted to talk about some of the barriers and some of the observations I've made in the hobby the last couple of months or so.
So if you ever go out to a pinball, B's the only Asian there.
There's not a lot of Asian people playing pinball.
Southeast Asian.
Yeah, there ain't no Asian folk playing pinball. It's like, I don't know what it is, but there is actually.
We do cheap.
Yeah, there is a few people. No, like in the Captain's Auction crew, they have a couple of guys that are the host of the pinball tournaments and they're Asian. So I've seen at least 2 other Asian guys play pinball.
Oh, so they're the money bags.
Yeah, I've seen
they
at least
host them. They take your money.
Yeah,
they take your
they're
money.
taking your money instead. They're collecting the registration fees instead of playing in the tournament themselves. Yeah, I think that's it. I've seen 2 other Asian guys. That's it. Have you ever seen like a random like Asian girl playing pinball at any place we've gone to?
Me?
Besides you?
No.
Yeah. Tis what it is. Let's diversify the hobby, right? I mean, get out there. If you're watching and you happen to be interested in Pinball Map, download it, check it out. Okay. Anything else you want to say?
I'm Asian. I get my pinball.
Yeah, go get it in QCF. That's right. All the people are not Asian,
Be old. I'm gonna go dye my hair tonight.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
All right. I know. I'm getting little whites too. So
you wanna dye your hair tonight?
Maybe.
Let's do it.
Maybe a show with some operators would be some fun. Oh, having on some operators on the show, maybe.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about how you upkeep your machines.
Yeah, I did meet a couple of people from some of the local tournaments. So forgot his name already. Starts with a G. Gerard. Gerard was the guy at the Foo Fighters Premium with the big beard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I met him. Yeah, and then I want to meet the guy at our local brewery at some point. Yeah, I'm gonna buy him a beer, right? Because it's kind of cool.
My machine here.
Yeah, that would be cool. Pinball in the Southeast is big, so you see everyone playing all background. That's awesome to hear, MGK. It is not like that in LA. It is not like that in LA. We want to be able to see some more people playing the hobby, but tis what it is. But anyways, thank you all so much for joining us this evening for a fun conversation, just to talk about what's been on my mind and my thoughts. And
you need to get me oh shit tacos.
Tuesday we'll have some new pinball, and in the meantime, I'm gonna buy Mrs. Kongzera some tacos. Have a good evening, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. We will see you next time. We want to see some Mrs. Kongzera stuff.
Sure.
It's been a while.
Hi, this is Mrs. Kongzera, and are you ready to get big, buck, wild? Well, let's go.
Do you miss that?
I don't look like that now.
That's that?
I gotta add some more.
Those are fun. Those are fun, Mrs. Kongzera outtakes. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Talk to you guys later. Bye.